What's up, y'all? It's Tim Bevins, Creatures by Tim. Today, I want to go over the process of this concept piece that I made. It was for a commission. My homie wanted a dragonborn barbarian warrior, so I decided to come up with this. Alright, y'all, so this is really sped up. In total, the footage was, I don't know, like 16 hours? Yeah. So I trimmed it down to about 19 minutes. So we're skipping through quite a bit. But right now I'm just trying to find the head design for this character. And I didn't know much about Dragonborn things. I'm not too much into D&D. Of course, I probably should be. Whatever. But I did some research, looked at a little bit of their art of people's like fan art and stuff. I didn't want it to really affect me too much. Of course, it probably made it its influence in a way. But doing some sketches of the head, I really wanted to make sure that head was correct, was the way I wanted it to be. And this one's moving pretty good. Those are some gnarly eyebrow spike looking things. And I'm just working pretty loose, trying to work quick and trying to really get my thoughts out there on paper as quick as possible. And this guy, I'm working on the eye right now. Yeah, it's looking pretty okay. So how I typically work with head portraits is I generally just work on a silhouette, something kind of two-tone usually, and then I'll go in and kind of get like a rough inking idea. I do this a lot traditional as well. I'll use like watercolor or something. Sometimes I'll also just go in straight with the pen and do it. Whoa, those were some gnarly antlers. He kind of looks like an alien right now. I like it. I don't see. Okay, so this is the beauty of sketching digitally. I can cut up a piece, throw it on. Turns out I didn't like it. So I liked this one. So now I'm going in and getting kind of like a final line art on it. I really like those eyebrow horn things. I don't know what you would want to call them. I'll call them kind of like horns. And I really like the loose skin under the head. You know, Komodos have that. A lot of lizards have loose skin. And since it's a dragonborn, it's a kind of a dragon, kind of. Therefore, lizard. Boom. Easy peasy. And then I threw some armor on the back of it. So now I'm just trying to figure out the body. You could kind of do the body first and then narrow down on the head, or reverse how I'm doing it right now. Each method is kind of fine, you know, as long as you're getting it down, getting your ideas down, trying it out. Ooh, reference time. So you see I got an alligator, got some Frank Frazetta in here. I got some stuff I pulled off of ArtStation. Frank Frazetta is amazing. If you don't know who that is, you definitely need to look at some of his work. Of course, it's all like muscular, big men. But the thing I like is his colors. It's very subtle in some areas. Very stark and contrasty in others. The way he'll just throw a blue or throw some red in out of nowhere is amazing. I love it. It's beautiful. So I kind of talked over this part. We now have this kind of shoulder plate thing, and that's the head of a crocodile. I thought that would be like a sick, I don't know the technical term for that piece, shoulder piece, I guess. Close enough. And what I threw in a little belt, rough, very rough right now. But that's how it goes. You work rough until the finish. All the rough beginning stages is where it all happens. That's kind of where the piece is really made. And if you rush it, a lot of mistakes can happen. So here, right, the arms are a little too long. The legs look a little funky. The torso is a little too long. All of this I will slowly fix over time. I'm going straight into the final line art. I know it gets adjusted a bunch of times after this because it's not quite where I wanted it to be right now. It's close. It's very close to the final, but it's not yet. There's a lot of things that either didn't make sense or were kind of lackluster. After I finished this final line art, I sent it off to a couple of my homies, and they gave me some feedback on it. You know, they were telling me, this don't feel right, this feels good, all the stuff you get. If you're not getting feedback on your stuff, you're missing out on things that you don't see in the moment. Something that you would see maybe a month, 2 months later, or something beyond your skill gap. And that's why community or school, whatever, all of that's kind of important because of the feedback. Alright, so I'm throwing a whole bunch of color on here. I think it's start wild with color. It's kind of like roots in my watercolor. Alright, like right back here is a watercolor piece I'm working on right now, commission. Typically start out pretty wild with my watercolors, and then I'll slowly build up to kind of like the true color, I guess you could say. And I try to replicate that digitally. I'm not the best at coloring digital. I like more of the tactile, real feeling of paint and the surprises that could happen from that paint. And you do get that in digital sometimes, not all the time. In digital, I feel like you can control so much to the highest degree that you don't really let yourself have those mistakes, right? And I'm trying to let myself have more mistakes digitally, because those mistakes can bring out some interesting things, right? So this part was hard because I believe I had collapsed all of the stuff into I merged it all into one layer is what I did. So I'm kind of painting like Trent Kanigura. I think that's how you say his name. If you don't know him, he's on YouTube. He's done some like Diablo stuff. He's got his own comic. But he paints and does his line art all together at the same time, which is kind of how I'm going about fixing this right now. Not to say I'm on his level, because I am not. But it's a similar process. I didn't intend to work like that. I think it was an accident. But those accidents made me do something I've never done, which was cool, right? So I just rolled with it. You know, I could have smacked the undo button a bunch of times. Oh, okay. So I sent this off for feedback. Again, I sent this to the client. And it just wasn't enough, right? There wasn't enough detail, enough like textual information. To me, it felt generic. So I needed to add more things to kind of liven it up. So I threw the skull onto this like metal padding with a cloth underneath. And then I added some more straps right here, right? And what I planned for the belt as well, some stuff. Alright, so while I'm going in and fixing all this stuff, let's tell you a little bit about Valdar the Exiled. I'll tell you the story behind him. The client did not give me any type of story. They just wanted a dragonborn barbarian warrior with an axe. So I built my own story for it. And after all my research on like what dragonborns are about in the D&D universe, what barbarians are about in the universe, I kind of just constructed my own story. All right. Valdar lived in the dragonborn clan of Uthrakin, an unforgiving clan fiercely loyal to their king, King Kandua. Valdar is of low rank in the clan. Low ranks are denied the basic goods of food, water, shelter, and medicine until they reach the middle ranks. Valdar had a sick daughter, Ronar, who could not be cured by Valdar's fellow low-rank healers. So he took it upon himself to sneak into the castle and steal medicine for his daughter. Unfortunately, Valdar was caught stealing the medicine by the royal guard. His punishment was to watch his daughter beheaded. Valdar was then branded as an exile and cast out into the wildlands. Valdar punished himself by marking each day without his daughter into his flesh as he searched the wildlands for a legendary dragon axe, the Dracomancer. The famed Dracomancer was rumored to hold the spirit of a divine dragon. Valdar vowed to find the Dracomancer and use it to avenge his daughter. Dun dun dun! Yep, so some crazy stuff happened to this year Dragonborn, and there's a follow-up in my part 2 video showing kind of the climax of it. So I guess I'll let you in on the real secret. This part you're seeing now is not actually part of the commission. I wanted to do this part to kind of flex my concept art skills, see where I'm at. You know, it's been a while since I've done a concept art sheet, so I wanted to just see where I'm at this point. The goal initially for my art career was to be a concept artist, but I found so much love in making books and stories that I'm kind of vibing with that right now. But, you know, I just wanted to see. So, the deliverable, as they would say in school, is part 2. So, you'll see that. It'll be up very soon after this one, like a week, maybe. But back to the process here. I'm really trying to figure out these legs because they were weird. I didn't like how they looked. I didn't like the texturing. So I cut them off and I'm redoing it. And I'm trying to figure out these garments, I guess you could call them. Whatever this fabric is that most like knight barbarian people, loincloth, is that the right name for it? I don't know. But trying to figure out that design. The feet do look a lot better now. The feet, the legs. I'm continuously working on proportions as we go. I will say doing it this way is a bit more complicated. But you're also arriving to a finish, I guess you could say, a little bit quicker. but it breaks your brain when you're cutting off pieces and then you got to repaint everything. So it's not as simple as just erasing your pencil lines and restarting. But that's, as I said earlier, I was rushing a little bit, and I had to really put my foot on the brake, take my time. So at this point, Valdar himself is pretty much done. The Dracomancer axe is pretty cool. It's the bottom jaw of a crocodile or alligator, whichever one is the bigger one. I think it's an alligator. The little pink cloth is to symbolize his daughter. The symbol on the belt is also kind of like it's a symbol I made up to a degree. I used some influence of fatherhood symbols, of widowed symbols, and kind of like try to figure out something that would represent a father losing a daughter. And that's the symbol I came up with. Here's kind of a call out art piece for the Dracomancer axe. I feel like this really kind of helps it. You see it all the time in concept art, right? But it was also to really help my brain figure out what the heck is actually going on here. This is something I even do in my other sketches. Like, I'll do a different angle just to see what it actually looks like. Try to see it fully in 3D to the best of your abilities. Alright, so we're here just working on the line art for the axe. I want to throw in, slap down some color on it. And I cut out a piece of the axe from the hand, as you can see, just to kind of have it right there to really compare. I was zoomed in pretty close, like not super close, but I was zoomed in so much where I couldn't really see the axe. So I had to do that. You should always have your reference nearby. Because what you're not seeing is on my second monitor. I use PureRef. I don't know if you know what that is. It's an amazing app. It's free. It's called PureRef. You can just throw in all these images, and it's kind of like its own canvas. And you can make them all the same size. You can design it how you want it, whatever. It's awesome. I love it. I used it in school and how to get it on my computer. Again, it's free, so donations are welcomed. Donations are asked for, whatever, something like that. So donate if you want, but PureRef is awesome. I use it all the time. So we're coming down to the end of this little flyby. You're about to see me bring in all this text, figure out how I want it to look, and presentation is something that you really should focus on. All the text I did elsewhere on another program, and just copied and pasted it in here. And all these little marks are kind of to reinforce the idea of him counting down the days that he lost his daughter. Signed it, and that's it. It's done. Well, part 2 will be out soon, and thank you guys for watching. Before you go, let me show you something new. Give me 1 second. This is a book called Inking Under Pressure. Me and my homie Joshua Myers created this book together. First half is all of Josh's work, and the second half is I did a little comic. There's some more surreal. There's some plethora of things that I've got going on in here. You can pick up a physical or digital copy of this on my website, creaturesbytim.com. And then my shirt, Tadio. I don't think I can say that word on YouTube. creaturesbytim.com. I got so much else on there, some prints, a couple other books on there. Go check it out. Peace.